So this is going to be a very brief overview of the synthesis techniques on the Korg EMX1. So I'll show you it making sure the keyboard light is on. And here's C. And that's the octaves. These are all the black keys on a keyboard. This changes the octave. So we have quite the range to work with. The synth is monophonic, but there are 5 different ones, and you can program them. You can copy over the sound to another if you wanted to work with more than one note at a time. So right now we're in waveform mode. What I'm going to do is show you pretty much just what each knob does, because the different synthesis functions operate differently according to these. So instead of just describe every single thing, I'm just going to move them, and then I'll go over here to the modulation settings, and you can change all the different settings from pitch to Osc Edit 1, 2, cutoff, amp, or pan. And then it has all these shapes you can change it from. So I'll be probably messing around with that just to show you just a little idea of the different sounds you can come up with. I'm just going to make it up as I go, so it's not going to be any refined programming techniques, just showing you a little bit of what you can do with the synthesis engine on here. So I'm starting here with the saw, and I just moved the pitch. It was all the way down here, so you could hear that. You can slightly detune the pitch. If you press part edit, it'll show what waveform you're on. And so I like that sound. So I want it to do that automatically. So I'm going to go to modulation. I'm going to set it to Osc Edit 1. I'm going to change it. You can make it go into positive or negative. So let's just turn it. You can hear it change. Let's make it do it slowly. That's the rate. Okay, that's in pulse, triangle, sine. All right, this is dual oscillator mode. Right here, you can see if you're in part edit. Always check, make sure you're there before you start turning this, because you could change your pattern and then lose all your settings, which would not be cool. So here's the dual oscillator. Starts off with saw, saw. This is the balance between oscillator 1 and 2. I just put it to the middle. So there's 2 sine waves. Saw in a square. So I like that sound. That's kind of cool. Just detuning it a little. So yeah, you have all the different combinations of different waves and noise. Next is chord. This you can set for playing different chords. Major, 6th, 7th, etc. Minor. There's a lot of different settings. This changes the voicing. So I'm automating that right now. And also set it to BPM sync. So now it would synchronize to whatever beat is playing. So that's another cool thing. Let's move on. Unison mode. This does detune. There's the oscillator 1 pitch. So we're going to go in here. Right now it's on 6 triangle. There's 5, 4, and then 3. You don't really hear too much of a difference until you turn that detune. Let's go to 6 saw. So you hear the difference. There's a lot less voices going on in 3 saw than 6 saw. Alright, so let's move on. Ring mod. So this is the depth of the modulation of the ring mod. This is the pitch of it. So it might be cool to change the pitch. So we're going to change Osc Edit 2. So you can get some pretty strange sounds going on here. This is now Osc Sync. So what you want to do is modulate this using the tail type and changing this. And you can hear the sync effect right there. So you can also obviously change the Osc different types. So let's move on. Cross mod. So yeah, this does a lot of crazy sounds. So what I'm going to do is make it on random here. Let's move on. VPM. Alright, so that's VPN. Next wave is Waveshaper here. Waveshaper will change accordingly. Next is Additive. Next, let's look into the comb. It kind of adds like a flanger. So we're going to set that to Osc Edit too. Turn up the feedback. Next is Formant. What this is kind of makes like a kind of little bit based on a human vocal. So it changes depending on where you change the offset and the formant. So that's Formant. Noise. You have rate. And color. Next is the PCM. Now PCM, we have a lot of different waveforms here. First one, let's say piano. Okay. Let's say we want that to cut off, so we press amp EG here until it shows the tail. Change the size of the tail. That's okay. This adds feedback. This adds the comb pitch. So if you wanted to add that kind of sound, you could use the comb. Or if you just want to play with the PCMs, you just turn them all off. There's other different sounds on here. There's a lot, actually. Here's an organ. That doesn't sound too good. I'm going to turn off the portamento and turn amp EG to just on and off. Let's say we wanted that sound to wobble, for example. Just go to pitch. Make sure that's on triangle. You don't have to turn it kind of just a little bit, maybe depth 4. So yeah, different things like that. What I want to show you here, here's the flute. Turn that portamento up. Turn it up a little more. So, I love the portamento. It's called glide on this. So, what I'm going to do now is just show you kind of how to imitate an attack. So, we have the tail here. We can make a tail. I'm using strings now. Or on and off. So, let's say we want it to go in. That's called attack. Like to fade in. So, we can simulate that. Just choose that tail as the type on here. Change the amp, turn that up. Actually, we're going to turn it down. And it should fade in. You can really hear it now. There's the attack. So you have one on the tail type, go in the negative on amp. And then change this, you know, about here. You're gonna get a good fade in. Let's make this tail. Kinda works. So that's it. The next thing you can do is PCM and Waveshape. So here's the Waveshape. And that's an organ right now. And that's just being run through wave shaping. So a lot of strange sounds with us. But yeah, that's a brief overview of pretty much what you'd be looking at in just terms of simple synthesis on the EMX1.